Welcome to Harmony Hub. Today, we are honored to have a distinguished guest, a media mogul, and a champion in community journalism. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Mutiu Olawuyi, the CEO of Parrot Media Corporation and the chief editor of New York Parrots, African Parrots, Bronx Post, Manchester Times. Known for his commitment to public safety, community based projects, his publications have been a voice for the voiceless and a platform for the community engagements. Welcome, Mr. Olawi. We are thrilled to have you.
Thank you for having me in this wonderful marital podcast show called Harmony Home. I hope we have harmony at home everywhere around the globe. Thank you once again.
You're most welcome. Many couples insist that they talk every day, but they still say they feel unheard. From your perspective, why do you think couples talk without truly communicating?
Again, I'm very pleased to be on this show to talk about something that has to do with my field. That's communication. Communication, I mean, in the area of media, because what we do in the media is pure communication. We deal with the masses, but you're not taking down to the domestic level as a married man with experience over a decade. So one can relate with what you're talking about. And as a manager in different demography or different institutions, one has had one or two things to do with different people. So I can say that first thing we need to understand is there's a clear difference between talking and communicating. We talk to respond, we communicate to listen to one another. That has to be the simple definition of the two. Now, to go deeper into these two words, talking can be termed as expressing the surface level of communication. The deeper side is communication itself. I mean, discussing events, reporting issues within homes, talking about stress and co. This is talking, not communication. At that level, while it may not have anything to do with emotion, but when you have to consider the emotional effect of the speaker, then you are going deeper to communication. And at this level, there are three things you need to consider. I call it PIV. That is presence, interpretation, and validation. Presence has to do with interlocutor, the listener, showing sign of being present in mind, not only physically. I mean, your partner is talking and you're engaging maybe your mobile phone or you're using a laptop or you're watching a TV show or program or movie while your partner is expressing his or her feeling, then you're not present. That means there will be no communication at that level, and that can cause chaos in a marital setting. Interpretation, which is the I part of the PIV, has to do with understanding the message of the speaker. If your partner is talking, you need to first know what is the speaker is saying, getting digesting the meaning, both the surface and the deep meaning of the speaker, the message itself. When not listening to respond, as I said earlier. But if you listen just for the person to end and then you respond, then you're not interpreting. You first need to interpret before you respond. If you do not have that mindset of or the skill of interpretation, there will always be chaos. There will never be clear communication. All we have is going to be just talking, talking, and talking. And You will not have a peaceful or harmonious home in that case. Validation is the third one. Validation can indirectly or directly be interpreted as appreciation or acknowledgement of the message your interlocutor, the person you are talking to, or your partner. You have to appreciate the message, acknowledge what the person said. That okay, you said this. Oh, you're right. Even though you disagree with that, validate that because that's the opinion of that person before you bring your own opinion. When you do that, it will solve the issue. If the issue is at the 100-degree level, it will come down to 50. By the time you now communicate politely and you express yourself in a calm way, you realize that communication would have taken place instead of just talking and talking and talking. Because if you are talking, you will only be talking to reply. You're not going to talk to solve any problem.
Wow. PIV: presence, interpretation, and validation. I love that. You said presence, meaning that you need to be present with your mind, not to just listen with your ears. Interpretation, understanding what your partner is saying, trying to see from their own point of view. You're listening to interpret, listening to understand for amicable communication. You're not just listening to react. Then validation. Wow. Validation, to validate their feeling, to acknowledge their feeling. And you've said it all. These three pillars are the foundation of effective communication. And this brings me to my next question. What specific habits makes partners feel unheard, even when conversations happen frequently? They still feel unheard.
Actually, there are five major habits that can cause this uh, challenge that you just mentioned for conversation to take place effectively. I've mentioned the difference between talking and communicating. And one of the habits is that is listening to respond. When you, as a partner, when you are prepared only to respond to your partner, there will always be chaos. You prepare to counter. Naturally speaking, when in most marital homes, you hear people attempting to only respond. As soon as the person starts talking, the partner who is listening, the interlocutor, will start preparing to for defense. And when it is always for defense, there will always be problem. Rather than trying to look for the best way to get the message, to understand the message, what the person will be doing is preparing to reply. So in that case, there'll be problem. Number two is multitasking. You cannot be multitasking while you are communicating. You can be talking and be multitasking. For instance, you can be on phone with your friend and be laughing and still be working in the kitchen as a wife. But you cannot be with your partner who is prepared to talk about an issue that need to be resolved. And you are cutting onion or you are trying to prepare this, is either one will have to affect another. So multitasking cannot help in communication. Number three is the most of the time we see conversation as a form of debate. When, as if you are in a courtroom, you say this, I say my own, I have to defend that part. And what you say in this part, you even mention one word, you abuse me in this area. Why would you use this word for me in this way? Rather than looking at the message, the key message, the minor part, instead of ignoring that and looking at what is this person trying to hit the nail on. So, but you are prepared already. You have a prepared mind that is going to say this. So I have to look for something to defend myself in that. When you turn conversation to a courtroom, like a debate, there will never be communication. All you need at the end of everything, you might spend 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. You only talk. You will never solve any problem. So that is very, very important. And you need to try as much as possible to understand how to eliminate this to get a meaningful conversation with your partner. And another part is that of rationalizing feelings. When you talk about this, when people start to, when you are talking, for example, before you finish talking, your partner has already said you are lying or you are just overreacting. You've already rationalized the feeling of the person. You're going to aggravate the situation. Instead of you to calm down, listen to the person. Wherever the person has made something contrary to what is the reality on your own side, you let it be in your mind and wait for the time you're going to talk. But when you already say the person is lying, there is nothing you will say after that the person will also listen to you. You've already caused more problem. So that's going to break the conversation, and that's going to result to not being able to accomplish your mission of getting something solved domestically. And what I would term as the last one has to do with sometimes you have difficult topics. When you avoid difficult topics in homes, it will be very difficult for you to really have something meaningful in your conversation. Because those who avoid the difficult topic will be piling and piling and piling because they're going to be quiet instead of just bringing out the topic, however difficult it is, discuss it in a polite manner. If that partner is also an understanding person that is not only listening to respond but listening to understand, uh, at the end there will always be a resolution and such a home will be peaceful. But when you avoid maybe difficult topics, you feel if I say this, it might cause another problem. Okay, let me be quiet. You keep that silence will just be increasing the challenge. It's not going to solve the problem, and it will continue to lead to a stage where you will no longer be able to cope as partners living together, and you have to depart. So these are the five major things that you need that one needs to really look into specifically because these are the habits that usually break conversation in a domestic or marital environment.
Thank you. Rationalizing conversations, already reaching conclusion before the next person completes their conversation. You have a prepared mind, and by so doing, it makes you have your own conclusion. There is nothing you can say when it's your turn that the next person will attend to you, or you having a communication with your spouse or your partner and you're cutting onions. That means you're not present, you're not listening to communicate. Another one you mentioned that hits really hard is when two couples are avoiding hard topics. They don't want to say the hard words, they don't want to say the conversations that are very sensitive. And that way, they leave it in the limbo, not solving a problem, but leaving it there to exist for a longer time.